Russia's recent offensive in Ukraine's northeastern Kharkov region, though not intended for psychological impact, may indeed be morphing into a psychological setback for Kiev and its Western allies.
Welcome to TFI Global, the antidote to mass delusion.
Without insider information, the exact objectives of Moscow's operation remain unclear. What is evident is the territorial gains achieved thus far, over 100 square kilometers, including several villages. Ukrainian sources report that Russian forces are now engaged in the town of Volchansk, a local military hub. While the scope of this advance remains uncertain, it is improbable that the operation aims to capture the city of Kharkov, Ukraine's second largest city. More likely, the goal is to bring Kharkov within range of Russian artillery, thereby setting the stage for future, larger offensives. Russia's objectives may include creating a buffer zone to protect Belgorod and stretching Ukraine's already depleted military resources. Fresh attacks in other regions such as Sumy and Chernigov suggest a strategy to open additional fronts, compelling Ukraine to spread its defenses thin. Moscow's aims are likely flexible, capable of evolving with emerging opportunities, which seems to be the case with this offensive. The impact of this attack on Ukraine and the West, particularly the United States, is more discernible. Both Kiev and Washington are attempting to downplay their losses and mitigate future risks, likely in a coordinated effort. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken's unexpected visit to Kiev underscores this point. While acknowledging the challenging situation, Blinken sought to maintain optimism by promising forthcoming American aid. However, this promise is fraught with uncertainty. The anticipated aid may not suffice, given Ukraine's fundamental weaknesses in manpower, a deficiency that cannot be remedied by Western funding alone. The response from Ukraine and the West indicates a significant concern over the unfolding events. Despite attempts to present a united and resilient front, the reality on the ground suggests otherwise. The strategic implications of Russia's advances are profound, potentially reshaping the conflict's dynamics and altering the balance of power in the region. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has sought to reassure both domestic and international audiences. He claims that his military understands Russia's strategy to stretch Ukrainian defenses thin and has promised that key areas such as the Donbas town of Chasiv Yar will not be abandoned. However, the critical issue might be that Zelensky's awareness of Russian plans is irrelevant. His real dilemma may be choosing where Russia will gain ground and where Ukraine will lose it. This is the essence of being overextended, as Ukraine's military has hinted at further retreats on the Donbas front. More revealing than these attempts to rationalize a deteriorating battlefield situation are reactions that are both more candid and less optimistic. The Russian advance is not only becoming a defeat for Ukraine and the West, but also sparking a significant scandal. In Ukraine, the swift and largely unopposed Russian advance through supposed zones of fortifications and minefields has led to accusations of corruption. Ukrainskaya Pravda, a traditionally pro-Western publication, has questioned where the fortifications are, pointing out that regional authorities paid millions to fictitious companies for defenses that are either missing or shoddy. In the West, the BBC highlighted the concerns of Denis Yaroslavsky, a Ukrainian special reconnaissance officer, who reported that Russian forces simply walked in. Yaroslavsky noted that while Ukrainian officials claimed that defenses were being built at great expense, the defenses were non-existent or inadequate. He concluded that this failure was either due to negligence or corruption, amounting to betrayal. Ukraine's war efforts being hampered by corruption is not news, but its open denunciation indicates a diminishing capacity of the Zelensky regime to control narratives. Kirill Budanov, Ukraine's head of military intelligence, exemplified this confusion. He presented a grim outlook in an interview with the New York Times, describing Ukraine's situation as on the edge and highlighting the lack of reserves. Yet, speaking to a Ukrainian audience, Budanov emphasized stabilization, claiming that Russian forces are contained in principle. Russia's operation in the Kharkov region is part of an ongoing conflict. Predicting outcomes is premature, but 2 points are clear. Moscow retains the initiative, deciding the purpose of its attacks, while Ukraine and the West are forced to react. Despite efforts to maintain optimism, both Ukraine and the West display signs of nervousness under Russian pressure. This, for now, is the most evident effect of the Kharkov operation, even if it remains hidden in plain sight.